Welcome to Search Strategies for Logos Bible Software 2025. Now, for those of you who are new, what is the purpose of this webinar? Well, first, we're going to provide training for Logos Bible Software, and there'll be a lot of that tonight. And then we'll provide training so you can study the topic for yourself, though we're not really studying a topic per se. We will give you help to do such topic studies for yourself. If we come across a passage, we might provide biblical insights related to the topic. At times, I will admit, training is fast-paced. We do like to include a lot of information to increase training value. Training at times may be complex with multiple steps as well. Other times, training is easy to follow along with very few steps. All webinars are recorded for purchase and review offline. Now, today's training doesn't really include a personal book, though I've gone back and forth on this. It's just, it really doesn't work for this type of webinar. So no personal book for tonight's webinar. As far as our webinars in a couple weeks, on September 11th, we're going to do how to study Hebrews 11 on 9/11 for the Hall of Faith. It's a fascinating chapter. And then a week after that, we're going to do comparing the sacrificial systems, Old Testament versus the millennial kingdom. And that is a fascinating comparison. There's many who say now that Christ has completed his cross work, there'll be no more sacrifices. And you'll be surprised to discover that in the millennial kingdom, when Israel is restored and the new covenant is fully in play, that there will be a temple and there will be sacrifices, but not all the same kinds of sacrifices from the old covenant. And so that's going to be a very fascinating study, and I look forward to sharing that with you. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Now, this is a vast subject, so let me just begin with why this topic. Logos is a powerful tool, as you know, packed with an amazing library of resources and specialized search tags. That's what really sets Logos apart from other Bible software, is all the extra work they've done to make the books a superior ebook experience. By learning how to leverage these tools, you can quickly and effectively find exactly what you need when studying scriptures. In other words, I'm going to help you tonight to find the needle in the haystack. To get the most out of Logos and maximize the value of those resources you've purchased and acquired, it is essential to master Logos' search capabilities. And this webinar is designed to help you do just that. Now, this is a lot of information to cover. And so the way we're going to do this is we're going to kind of do the macro, big picture, big overview, and then we'll get into some practical specifics along the way. So believe it or not, let's begin with the most straightforward place, and that is the search icon. Now I'm going to left click on it, and I'm going to drag that icon to the middle of my empty layout so the whole screen is filled gray. And when I release my mouse, the search engine fills up the whole screen. Pretty handy. And Logos has been expanding this search window over the years, and now there are literally 12 search engines in addition to this little sidebar at the right, which helps you with search templates and things like that. And that sidebar can be turned on and off right here. I call this the hamburger menu, and when you click on that, that'll open it up and close it. So let's walk through briefly what each one does, and then we'll actually work with some of these with some examples. Now, the all search is the uber search. It's the ultimate search. It's going to search everything and tap even into your AI search capability. So we can type in something, let's say millennial sacrifices, since we mentioned that earlier, and it's going to go into your whole library, but also organize the search results a little bit differently. So you're going to get a synopsis, which is a quick explanation, summary overview with some footnotes to the resources in your library. This synopsis will change from user to user. And of course, it's based on different books. So I really like this feature. It's a quick get in, get out. Then you're going to see your traditional links to relevant resources. And then they're going to have these cards. We have the Factbook card. So if you click these links, it'll actually take you back to the Factbook and run some searches. In fact, you have a search Factbook option there. Then there'll be some more searches, and then depending on the type of search you're doing, you might get some additional cards. But notice over at the right, the little padlock. We're actually searching locked books, all right? That's very key. So you're actually finding out if this book mentions this topic, and that might guide you in your next resource you're going to purchase. Be aware of those locks and unlocks as you're looking through your search results. So you may like this for the synopsis and for these cards, and there's other cards that will appear based on the search, but you may not like it because it doesn't give you just strictly from your own library. So be aware of that. Now, the next search you're very familiar with, that's the Bible search. So anything that is searching the content of a Bible, that could be an English Bible, it can be a Greek, Hebrew Bible, other translations of other languages, that's what this is for. This is everything Bible. And notice at the left, we're at precise. We could do a smart search if we wanted to, an AI search. And then we've got some basic search terms here on the left to give you some ideas of what you can do. And we'll do some more searching on this later. Then we have the book search. This is searching everything in your library, including Bibles, but it's really primarily for searching non-Bibles, your commentaries, your lexicons, things like that. And the goal of this search is essentially to find the material that's outside your Bible. And there's a lot of neat things we can do with this search, and we'll do some of that. Then we have the Factbook. Notice that you can go directly to the Factbook by clicking on the book with the check mark. But the Factbook allows you to directly search it. And when you type in things like millennial, all right, notice that there's no drop down here. But if we type in, let's say something else, whoops, let me try something else here. That's one of the disadvantages of this search. But if we go to Factbook, and I don't know if this is because I'm still indexing. No, I'm all good. If we go to Factbook itself and we type in, let's say millennial, we're going to get some options, and that's better. But if you already know, hey, I just want to search the Factbook, you've got a term, hey, go ahead and press enter and search away, and now you can see all the Factbook results. So don't let that drop-down menu not appearing throw you off. Just type in what you're looking for and search for it. Now, more search is very specific. We're searching the morphology of the word. Now, if you're wondering what is morphology, let me open up a Bible and explain. So I've got my Bible here opened at the right, and I'm going to right-click on the word holding back. Now, the right-click appears. You've seen this before. We have the word that we selected at the very top left of the right-click menu. Then we have the location, Revelation 7:1. And then we have this next set of information. This all comes directly from the Bible. The little page icon represents the manuscript. This is what man scripted. This is what you would see if you were physically holding the Greek Bible or Hebrew Bible. Then we see the lemma, that's the lexicon. And this has been stripped of its morphological information. The manuscript includes the morphological information. So the rest is your root word, and then down below the @ symbol is actually the morphological information. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the manuscript here, and or better yet, I'm going to go down to here. There we go. I'm going to go down to morphology, and I'm going to do search, and then I'm going to choose the last box, which includes the lexicon form and then also all the morphological information. And there we go. Notice that I am now in the morph search. Here we go. And I'm looking for this specific Greek word with this specific morphological information. Now, if you click in the box and you don't see these various columns, just hit the down arrow on your keyboard. That usually works pretty good. And or sometimes you may have to go in to the next letter, because sometimes like the question, there might be a question mark there, a hyphen. And so what we want to do is click just to maybe the second character. Then you can hit the down arrow on your keyboard, and that'll open up this menu. Mac will have this issue. PCs usually don't. Now we can go in and select what we want morphologically. So if we were wondering, hey, does this Greek word ever appear as a command? Just uncheck or deselect everything in this list. And notice as I'm doing that, the letters are changing in there. Now, we definitely want it to be a verb, but now I want to do a imperative. So I go over to mood, I click imperative, and it figures out all the codes to type, and then all I have to do is press enter, and we look for the search results. Now, notice it still says V there. This can happen. So I'm going to click on imperative one more time, then press enter, and there we go. Now we have all the versions, all the verses where this word is a command. Seize him, hold fast. These are all commands. So the more search allows you to search on the variety of these different Greek and Hebrew words. Powerful tool. All right, let me close that down, expand our menu to be a little bit easier to read. And let's go to the next one. Oh, by the way, I should mention this. You can just simply type in the @ symbol. That's going to give you access to now the morphology drop-down menu. You can then choose the type of morphology you're searching, Greek, Hebrew, or Aramaic. We'll choose Greek. And then you can choose the part of speech. And then the window opens up, and then you can choose imperative. So there's a couple ways to approach this. Just depends on what you're doing and where you started. All right. The next search is the media search. This is how you find all the media in Logos. Now, I'm going to type in a Bible verse, Daniel 2, a famous passage from Daniel, King Nebuchadnezzar's dream of the statue. And notice when I typed in a Bible reference, it shows up below in a drop-down menu. I'm going to click that because that's going to format my search properly. I'm going to go ahead and press enter. And now any media that's in my library, in any way related to Daniel 2, in any verse in Daniel 2, I'm going to see those results below. So I've got media, no online results, one atlas. Here we have the library, and then there's the various statues connected to Nebuchadnezzar's dream. Very cool. And then some other images as well that are related to the passage. So I really like this as a quick go-to to find out if there's any media that can be useful for PowerPoints or just visuals that can help me understand what's going on, maps, etc. So definitely take advantage of this amazing tool. All right, the next one is Docs. This is going to search your library of documents you created. This is your notes, your clippings, your sermon docs. Anything that you've created, this is going to search, including your notes, as I said earlier. So if we want to see if we've ever quoted Daniel 2 in any of our documents, we just press enter, type in Daniel 2 like before, and you can see 3 results in clippings, notes, passage lists, and sermons. And if we click and expand any of those, we can see the search results there. So I really like including Bible verses in my notes, in my documents for this very purpose, but we can also search on words. So if we were typing in, let's say, millennial sacrifices, let's see if we've got that anywhere in my notes. We don't, but let's see if I've got millennial. Let's try just millennial. All right. Unplanned search. There we go. So I do mention the word millennial in a variety of places, a lot in my sermons, a few in my notes and clippings, etc. So very powerful way of searching just all your notes. So if you're trying to find that piece of information you know you typed in somewhere, come to Docs. That'll be the way to go. Now, map searching is still pretty good in Logos, but it still has a lot to improve. But there's wonderful ways to search this. And one way is to type in the name of a place. Let's say Jericho. And let's type that in. And so there's Jericho. Now, it's important with this search to let that drop-down menu appear because we can search on Jericho the name, but we might want to be more specific, like Jericho, the Old Testament city. Let's click on that. Now we're getting back maps where the Old Testament Jericho is cited. And so we can see all these maps related to Jericho. And that's really handy. For example, here's ancient Jericho. And if we click on it, we get this amazing image of what people think Jericho looked like in ancient times based off the archaeological excavations. Now, this may take a moment to load up, but there you go. There's the walls. There's where they think people lived and so forth up on a hill. Pretty cool. And so that's just a great way of leveraging your maps. You may have thought this probably will appear in the media, but it's nice that it appears here as well. But mostly maps are in here. And so you got the battles, you've got lots of things that are mentioned that are map related here, as you can see. So take advantage of that. All right, now Factbook tags, I'll be honest with you, I don't use this too often, but these are the special tags that Logos has included. So I typed in justification, and now I've got some search results here. I'm going to choose the preaching theme. And so now I'm searching this preaching theme, which is a Factbook tag. And now I can look through resources and find this preaching theme in some surprising places. Like look at all my devotionals. I'd expect the Bible to come back, but some pretty interesting resources that come back that have been tagged with this preaching theme. Look towards the Factbook tags for finding additional hits on topics and themes. But notice when we typed in justification, that's not the only type of tag that we got, preaching themes. So I'm going to put in justification here, if I can spell it right. And look at these other ones. We have some letter A there for a sense, or it looks like a definition, theological. There's quite a few interesting results here, particular events and so forth. So make sure you expand through the search results. You may be surprised what you find. Bookstore is pretty straightforward. If you want to find some books on a particular topic, just type in that topic, give Logos a minute to search its library, and here we go. Now, this is a great example. The millennials has nothing to do with the millennial kingdom, but it mentions millennials. And now we can go through the library and we can determine if there's other books in the Logos store that might be relevant to your study. So if you're getting started for a study and you're trying to figure out what books you have in your library and what books maybe you want to acquire, you could go through a search like this in the bookstore. So here's one, Elements of Dispensational Truth. And now you can actually expand and see how many times the book mentions your word. That's going to say a lot. Here it says 32 results in 11 articles. Okay, that's a lot there. And we could go to the first one. Let's see, Isaiah, 52 results in 11 articles. So, we can see how often a word or a phrase repeats in a book, and that can give us an idea of what's good. So like here's 132 results because it's talking about the people, millennials, because it's Barna and so forth. So I like to look at the far right, at the gray results. And like this one would be very relevant. The Oxford Handbook of Apocalyptic Literature, 162 results in 35 articles. Notice you only get 3, but you can see 6 times here, 20 times there, 31 times here. This could be a very helpful book, but this is a reference to other books. It's not actually explaining these things. This is guiding you to more books on the content, but that nevertheless is still pretty handy. So I think that will be helpful. There's the more button, so you can do more, but here's one, future events with numerous prophetic details. All right, so that's pretty relevant. 53 results, 26 articles. We might want to look at these kits. So let's click on the link. And we can see here a little bit of information. So this is a scanned book that we're looking at. Pretty old, but we are able to scan, and we can see some of this text. We might have to zoom out a little bit, but at least you know what you're getting into, and then you can determine if this book is for you. For only 69 cents, that's a pretty good deal. All right, the next search is the clause search. Now, this is a very powerful search engine because we're not searching at the sentence level. We're searching at the phrase or clause level. Now, why does this matter? So let's say you're searching on Jesus and prayer. Well, it's different if Jesus is talking about prayer, Jesus is actually praying, or someone else is talking about prayer and Jesus happens to be mentioned in the passage. Having the ability to search on the clause eliminates that problem. Let me demonstrate. So I'm going to put in person, Jesus. All right. And we see it in the menu. We'll click it. And then we're going to put in the special tag verb -morph. There it is. And then we're going to put in a capital V. And now the morphological has shown up and it's imperative. All right. So I'm looking for a clause. That is, everything in the clause is related, part of one particular phrase. And I want Jesus and an imperative to be in there. So these are all the commands that Jesus may issue, or it's commands he's giving. He might be given to, but mostly it's him giving. So here we go. Get up, take the child. Now this one is, this is about Jesus. And in this case, Joseph is being commanded, but because Jesus is in the clause and the command's in the clause, we get it. So it narrows down searches and allows you to do some pretty specific searches. Now, if you're wondering what are your options, I recommend just look here under the entities, the senses, semantic roles, and you'll get an idea of what your options are. But I love searching within a phrase or a clause because that reduces false positives. And in the syntax search, well, let me be candid, this is more complicated. I've got several webinars on this. This is the ultimate precise searching because you can search not only in clauses, but you can search structure. So if you're looking at Hebrew, which actually is verb, subject, object, compared to Western Greek, which would be subject, verb, object, though there's always exceptions. You can do that with this type of search capability. So we're not just searching clauses, we're searching structure. We're also searching semantic domain range. So find me all the talking animals in the Bible, things like that. Now, just to give you some examples, let me see if I have some clause searches I've already done. So I'm going to expand my type here and look for clause syntax search. There it is, 262. Let me look at my, let's see what I've got here. We'll just pick this 25 from LearnLogos. Yeah, here we go. 3 repeating words of the Old Testament. Let me bring this in so you can see it. So here's a good example where I'm searching on structure and I'm looking at a clause and within this 3 words that repeat with no gap, no space between it. And the way this is set up is I've got this segment or word and you can see there's a 2 in there and a 1 and then a 1, 2, and 3. So this segment 1 is matching 2, and 2 is matching 3. And that would essentially, if 1 matches 2 and 2 matches 3, then all 3 match one another. And we can run this search, and we can then find all the places where 3 Hebrew words repeat one after the other. So we would expect to find holy, 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 but look at this one. In the Hebrew, it's actually, he died, shall surely be put to death. That's a lot of emphasis on death. And you wouldn't know that from the English, but you can notice that in the Hebrew. And then if we put spaces between them, we can put it like, let's say, anything and anything. And now, anytime a passage in a clause repeats itself, 3 words, the same word repeats itself 3 times in the clause, we'll get some more hits back. Now, this will take a moment to run because of that anything. We can now have intervening words. But as you can see, the key to using syntax is when you're trying to find a pattern. That's where this is very powerful. Now, I'm going to let that run in the background and just do one more syntax search. So I'm going to do syntax. I think I can do it this way. Let me see. That's still going strong. Let's just do a new one. And we've got syntax. We're going to do query. We'll do new. And actually, let me do it the other way. Let me just go back to my document library. And let me see if I can find some examples where we're doing, yeah, here we go. Subject, deity, complement. Let's look at this one. This is kind of fascinating. So here we go. We've got a clause, and it's very specific. There's a subject and a subject complement, and the subject has to be God or a deity, and then a noun. So we could run this search, and here we go. Then the Lord God said, it's not good for man to be alone. I, there's your subject, will make him a helper. There's the complement. So this looks for very specific subjects in the sense of being God and so forth. So I love that capability. Pretty cool. Let's see if we got any hits back. Yeah, this one is still chugging along. And so we're not going to wait for those search results, but you get the idea. Let's close this down. We don't want that search running again. There we go. We've closed everything down, and let's look at the specialized search tools, and there are a lot. We touched upon the first one, which is the Factbook. You can type just about anything in here, a word, a Greek word, a person, a place, an event, a thing. If you don't know where to start, just come to the Factbook and type it in. Factbook has got amazing results. We now have an all little lens here, biblical, library, theological, and there's also counseling. So if we type in, let's say, love styles, all right, looking for that little leaf. And so you can see here, Logos has a counseling lens as well. So if you've got counseling resources, you can search for it here. Bottom line is it's all here. By the way, notice that I clicked the hamburger menu up at